Hello and welcome, sports fans, to this live video streaming event from Table Rock Sports Productions in partnership with our local school districts and sponsors. I'm Jim McCoy along with Mark McLemore and Jared Thomas coming to you live from Springfield High School in Springfield, Oregon. And we thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the Lithia Superstore Game Night powered by Siskiyou Cellular in Southern Oregon, today featuring the Springfield Millers against the Cascade Christian Challengers. We're pleased to bring you this game on TableRockSports.net in partnership with the Grace Cascade Christian School District and our participating community business partners. Joe Brett is the executive producer for tonight's event. Our sponsors keep these events free for fans to enjoy. Please let them know you appreciate their support. Please help keep Table Rock Sports by subscribing to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, search Table Rock Sports and click on the red subscribe button. Thank you if you already have. We're just moments away from the start of tonight's ball game in the pantheon of Challenger history. Got to thinking about this the first time we've ever done a game on a Thursday night. Now, I know it happens from time to time at the 6A level, maybe with teacher in service or things like that, but there's a little football game at the college level that's going on tomorrow night, and I think they want to kind of keep all the energy and the roadways clear as they can be for that. Along with that, in the history of Challenger sports, this will be the first time the Challengers have played a 5A team. So, Mark, we've had a season of firsts. Our first game that ever got smoked out. And then we had another game that got canceled because of COVID-19. Why not add a couple more firsts to the ledger? Now, Springfield's an interesting cat because they're 3-3, but two of their victories have come via forfeit.
Yeah, they have, and their most recent game was against North Bend here at home, and they beat North Bend 10-0. So it's a little hard to tell what to expect from this team, to be honest with you. They've lost some games big to teams like Crater and Thurston, who seem to be pretty good. Eagle Point even beat them 24-7. But Eagle Point, played pretty well with Crater last week. So, that North Bend game may be a little more indicative of the kind of team we're going to see tonight. And I think it'll be a good test for the Challengers.
It sure will be. And, of course, for the Challengers, you talk about maybe searching for identity or kind of getting a gauge on just how good they are. I think that still remains up in the air. What we know from what we've seen over these 4 weeks that they've played, they can make plays. There's good athletes on this team. There's a great tradition. Cascade is one of those schools. They don't rebuild, they reload. They've got a lot of young talent on this team. But the emphasis on the word here is on the word young. And with that team, I still think that there are some things that they're working out. We got the national anthem going. Let's give it a chance to take a timeout. We'll be back with more on Table Rock Sports.
Seen a new way to achieve the highest level of savings. Peak Rewards. The Peak Rewards app is your roadmap to savings wherever your journey takes you. Simply by using our mobile app, you can shop for a mountain of savings in any of our convenience stores and fuel up for less. Just download the Peak Rewards app, register, find participating stations and stores near you, and start saving. With Peak Rewards, you can travel further for less. So what are you waiting for? Download Peak Rewards today and find a location near you.
Gather and memories are made. Tap Rock Northwest Grill.
And just right on cue, the national anthem performed by the high school marching band at Springfield High School. Glad you could be with us tonight. Again, a rare Thursday night game. And it'll be weird tomorrow night, Mark, to go maybe check out some other action around Southern Oregon. Tonight, this is the featured ball game, and a couple of teams, the Challengers, after that slow start against St. Mary's, where the Crusaders successfully played keep away for a half. The Challengers turned it on in the second half, and they came away with the victory. And I guess the question is do they continue that onward and upward progression, or what happens here tonight? I don't think we really know the answer to that yet.
No, we don't. I do think that, Springfield's going to be a good test for them. Being a 5A team, lots of juniors and seniors we see in the roster here, and they'll be fairly physical. So that's something the Challengers need. They need to get more physical. We've seen them so far this season, and one of the things, and I know I've talked to some of the coaches, is that the level of physicality, especially at the line of scrimmage, is not quite where they need it to be in order to soar, especially on the offensive side of the football, to open those holes up for the running backs, to protect Keith Reed a little bit better when he's going back to pass. So we'll see if the level of physicality can come up a little bit with the Challengers today, and they can make another step toward, well, let's face it, that game next week is probably going to be for the league championship.
It'll be a big one. We see the captains out at midfield, and one of the things we're grateful for is to see Austin Waits back in pads and gear. He sat out last week after the ankle injury against Siuslaw, so he's back in there. He's number 88. You also see out there Bryson Cannon, tackle for the Challengers. Keith Reed, the quarterback, wearing number 15, and running back Tristan Wallace, the South Medford transfer and grandson of former NFL pro Andy Maurer. Then we look over here on the Springfield side. The captains out at midfield. We see Chase Sattler, who's number 57. Also out there is Ali Gutierrez, wearing number 40. And then number 64 is Mikey Newell. 55 is... We don't have a 55 on this roster, so your guess is as good as mine on that one. Jaden Crane is number 30, and Carlos Lopez is number 5. So we're just a moment away from game time. The Millers in their dark blue uniforms with light blue numerals and also some white trim on that uniform. The Cascade Christian Challengers in their road whites with purple numerals. Getting all fired up, and you look over here at the American flag off in the distance. You see a little bit of a breeze kicking up, but nothing that you would think that would have too much of an effect on the ball game.
And again, the Challengers won the toss. They deferred, so they'll be kicking off here to start it. Millers will be receiving, and we'll get this one underway. I think it's going to be a ball game. We'll see how it goes. The Challengers really need this game as a tune-up to just kind of, one of the things we looked at last week, especially in that first half, was the lack of consistent offensive execution. And we really need to see that pick up this week with the Challengers. As this game proceeds, we just need a little bit more rhythm on offense, especially in the first half, as they were really stagnant in that first half last week.
Back deep to receive for Springfield, we have number 21, Cameron Dye. He's back there along with number 1, Julian Gomez, ready to kick it away. JT Knobloch Scott, the junior kicker, receiver, and corner for the Challengers. Glad you could join us. The hay's in the barn. It's time to play. Ball is up in the air. Another nice deep kick, and it's going to skitter into the end zone, and the Millers will take it out on the 20. So special teams from time to time, an adventure for the Challengers, but Knobloch takes the mystery out of that by kicking it deep.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a kicker who can put it in the end zone, and you don't have to worry about that special team play.
Well, over the years, the Challengers have had an embarrassment of riches at the kicker position. Ethan Hoffman, now an All-American punter at George Fox. He was the kicker and punter at Cascade Christian during his days. Ben Dunn, though mainly a receiver, good kicker. We've had some good ones over the years, and JT keeps that tradition alive in what can sometimes be an afterthought position in the high school ranks. Going in motion is Gomez. They'll go to the ground game on first down. Out across the 20-yard line up to about the 22.
Bonatti in there with the stop for the Challengers.
So the Challengers defensively come out with Bonatti, number 61. Also there's Matt Moses at the nose tackle. Over on the other end is Bryson Cannon. Linebacking core, Tristan Wallace and Cole Shields leading the way for the Challengers in the effort against St. Mary's. On second down, not much happening there with the carry. That is Julian Gomez. And that'll bring up a third down and 8. The Millers at their own 22-yard line.
So a couple of nice plays by the Challengers. Good job, both plays, really, by Bonatti kind of crashing down from his end spot and really bottling those plays up. So some good physicality from that defensive line to start.
Millers come out with twin receivers over to the left. Now going in motion is Gomez, so they have trips out that way. Quarterback rolling to his left. Pass overthrown. Austin Waits thought about maybe taking a little run to the house. Jack Wargo, the junior quarterback, a little off target there. And that'll bring up a 4th down as the Millers kick it away. And Mark, I'm seeing maybe a rerun of a movie we've seen before, that the Challengers start out well defensively. Yeah. And a lot of it's going to be the trick is what's the offense going to do to the outside of the game?
That's really what we've seen the last couple of weeks, really. The defense has made a stop to start the game. The offense has sort of sputtered the last couple of weeks getting going after they get the ball.
Wargo going to kick it to Tyler Almacy, who takes it at his 48-yard line. He slides down to the 43. A flag comes in as Almacy went into his slide, and we're talking about adventures and special teams, and quite often, Mark, in a return play like that, it usually means bad news for the return team.
Well, and I'm trying to figure out what they're calling here, because that block was, in my opinion, legal. It was not from behind, and it was above the waist. So I don't know what the penalty flag's about.
So the Challengers.
Let's see what they call here. Personal foul targeting. Again, I don't know what that call is. It looked like a perfectly legal block to me, but it's going to be a 10-yard penalty against the Challengers.
So the Challengers, they'll move it back. They'll still have some decent field position to open the ball game. At center, Daniel Nearing. He'll be joined along the line by Bryson Cannon, Liam Bonatti, Zachary McKenzie Cook, the senior, in the lineup in the place of the injured Jackson Turi.
Could have been a blindside block. Maybe that's what they called, blindside.
Matt Moses also in there. Keith Reed, the quarterback. Shields will go in motion. Little fly sweep action. He's looking to throw the football, and it's picked off. It's picked off by the Millers. Carlos Lopez with the interception. Challengers try a little razzle-dazzle to open the ball game, and they get burned.
Yeah, you don't have anybody open down the field. I think that was Shields with the football.
Yes.
And you just got to tuck that thing and run.
Yeah.
Can't afford an interception there, and there was really no one open on that play.
Well, and I think sometimes, Mark, that there's a reason why quarterbacks play quarterback, and there's a reason why receivers devote themselves largely to catching the football.
And not throwing it, you mean?
Yeah, well, of course, it's easy to say from the booth. I suppose they saw something there that they just felt compelled to try early in the ball game, but it does give the Millers a short field, and Wargo will hand it off on 1st down. But again, that Challenger defense just swallowing up the attack of the Millers, and
Austin Waits that time in on the stop.
They missed him last week.
They did.
We talk about the plays he makes as being a big target as a tight end offensively, but he's a real force. You really have to like this front seven that the Challengers have.
Yeah, the defense is very solid. I feel like the defense has played pretty well all year and keeps getting a little better each week. The Challengers, difficulty has been mostly on offense, and here's a reverse pass by the Millers.
Wargo looking all the way downfield. There's a receiver. He makes the catch. Hauling it in is Dwayne Fada, and he'll pick up a 1st down for Springfield.
Yeah, 21-yard double reverse pass. I guess everybody's breaking out the trick plays.
Well, and I'm sure the Millers are kind of like, this is how you do it.
Yeah, there you go. 21 yards and a 1st down for the Millers, and set up in good shape now, clear down at the Challenger 30.
1st down and 10. Wargo, and again, the running attack for Springfield not getting a whole lot here to start out in the ball game. Pickup of 1 on the play will bring up a 2nd down and 9.
Yeah, so far 4 carries for 4 yards for the Millers on the ground. So good job of that defensive line and linebackers stuffing those holes at the line of scrimmage.
In there, a linebacker, we see Austin Waits, Tristan Wallace. Also in there is Brendan Van Wart, along with Cole Shields. Second down, gets to the outside, escapes the grasp of a would-be challenger tackler. And that'll be a first down yardage and more for the Millers.
Yeah, finally a big run for the Millers.
Been knocking on that door. That moved the football all the way down to the 23-yard line. Pickup of 7 on the play.
And that time the challenger defense lost its edge. And once the Millers got outside, big gain that time on the run play.
Make that the 17. So now the Millers in the red zone. Wargo with Gomez in motion. He'll drop back, look right, looking for the end zone. And as I try to look out, crane my neck out the window, it's passing complete.
Yeah, I think that was
second down and 10.
Fada out there.
Dwayne Fada wearing number 2, junior receiver. And as I look at this roster, that just gives me a chance to address one of my pet peeves of not giving heights and weights. Like somehow we're not going to figure it out sooner or later who's big and who's not.
And by their numbers even?
Yeah. But on the incomplete pass, it's a second down and 10. And the looked like he had him for a moment there, right there at the line of scrimmage, but good second effort by the Millers. And that'll bring up a third down and manageable as they get inside the 15 down to the 13-yard line. So 8 minutes to go in the first. If you joined us late, Challenger successful defensively on the first series. They got it back and tried a little trick play that resulted in an interception for the Millers. The Millers taking advantage of the short field, and right now they're going to come out with twin receivers over to the left side. Single man out wide right. And they'll go ahead and hand the ball. A little running game, but good Challenger pursuit there. We see Tyler Almacy there as well as Tristan Wallace. Julian Gomez with the carry.
Yeah, Gomez with the carry. He picked up about a yard, I think, on the play, which brings up now 4th and 3. And you're on a spot in the field if you don't have a field goal kicker that you might as well go for it here, and it looks like that's what they're going to do.
So the quarterback, Jack Wargo, will come in from the sideline, bringing in the play.
And now Springfield has had the ball for all but one play of this first quarter and ran, pretty much almost half of it off the scoreboard here.
Did I say something a little bit earlier about I think I've seen this movie before?
Yeah, exactly.
4th down and 3. Wargo looking toward the end zone. Pass overthrown. And the Millers turn it over on downs. So the Challengers deep in their own territory, but they dodge a bullet here. As the Millers unable to capitalize on the Challenger turnover.
Yeah, had Lemley over there open. Just could not get the ball to him in the flat. Probably would have picked up the first down. Luckily for the Challengers, a little bit of pressure that time from the defensive front probably forced that errant throw, and the Challengers get the football back.
Table Rock Sports is excited to welcome the Thomason Hospitality Group of Grants Pass and Tap Rock Northwest Grill as a new sponsor. You can also enjoy Thomason Hospitality at Elmer's, Pita Pit, and Human Bean locations throughout Southern Oregon. 1st and 10 for Cascade. They got the trip receivers out to the left side of the field. Reed, first down handoff to Sample. Sample gets first down yardage and more as he crosses the 25-yard line. Sample was 77 yards as the number 2 back against St. Mary's.
Well, Sample's the speed guy. You know, Wallace is the power guy, Sample's the speed guy, and I tell you what, he showed a little burst of speed there for a quick 15-yard gain and a Challenger first down.
Sample with 105 yards rushing coming into the night. And we've seen a lot of him as slot receiver as well. First and 10. Reed, the quarterback, clapping his hands together. All Macy in motion. And they'll go with the fly sweep. And it'll get out across the 27-yard line. We have a flag coming in late.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a... Let's see what they're going to call this time. Might be that same block. I know one of the receivers blocking down again on the outside. Let's see what they call it. Oh, it's a hold, it looks like they're going to call against Cascade.
So they'll walk this one off, and they'll bring the football back to about the 18-yard line. And again, holding the call against Cascade Christian.
So it'll be 1st and 18 now for the Challengers.
We have Peyton Maurer. I've used my mulligan for the night on the Maurer twins. Peyton split wide to the right. And pass falls incomplete, intended for Tyler Almacy.
Nice tip by one of the defensive linemen. Got his hands up in the passing lane, and ball tipped and knocked away, incomplete. 2nd and 18 now for the Challengers from their own 18.
Reed ended up 10 for 19 last week, but 4 out of 10 in the first half.
Yeah, struggled in the first half. Did much better in the second.
Second down. 16 they're going to say. Pass batted away. Good anticipation by the Millers.
Should have been picked, and Keith's got to take a look out there before he just throws the ball out there. Trying to throw it out to Austin Waits, and didn't even look, just turned and threw it, which I know you want to get the ball out there quickly, but if you got a defender there, you got to tuck and run.
Zach Sherman making a nice play on the ball there. Sherman, sophomore linebacker.
Yeah, he read that all the way.
So Challengers a little trouble here with a 3rd down and long. 5:31 to go in the first quarter of play. Scoreless ball game.
JT Knobloch Scott in there on the wide receiver on this side. Let's see if they run that post play they ran against St. Mary's.
Reed dropping back. He's thinking about airing it out. Gets a little bit of pressure. Manages to elude it that way. And now he's going to go ahead and head downfield. Going to take off and run with it. And he's taken out of bounds at about right around the 30-yard line. There, running him out is T.J. Daniel for Springfield.
He gets about 13 yards, but remember, they needed 18. So that brings up 4th down now and 5. And is Coach Getman going to go here, or is he going to just try to draw him off sides?
That is the question. You know it's coming, but can you avoid jumping? That's the question for Springfield.
I wouldn't want to give them another short field, but they're going to go for it.
And the Challengers, they're not going to get it. And Sample meeting resistance as soon as he got to the line of scrimmage. And the Challengers put themselves in another tough spot to start a ball game.
Don't like that call at all.
No, I don't.
Got to punt the football right there.
Yeah. I mean, every now and then,
well,
there's a time and place. Let's just say a time and place for gambling. And in this time in the ball game and given the way it started, I'm not fond of it.
Yeah. So the Millers get the football back in excellent field position at the Challenger 30, and after their turnover on downs, the Challengers turn right back on downs.
Wargo at quarterback, 2-back set. He's looking long downfield, and he cannot connect with his intended receiver. Looked like we had Cameron Ragu back there with the coverage for Cascade. That pass simply off target, 2nd down and 10.
Well, and good double coverage there. Sample back there as well.
So the Challenger defense, so far, coming up big and being the difference maker here to keep their team out of trouble. On 2nd down, got some running room, some good blocking ahead of them, and powering it down to about the 15-yard line. Connor Dye. And it'll be a first down run and more for the Millers as they get down to, they'll spot the ball at, they had the ball there at the 20, but they got it now at the 15.
15, yeah. Clear down to the 15 before he was driven back. And a big 15-yard run there on 2nd and 10. And the Miller offensive line starting to move some Challenger defenders around out there.
Wargo hands the ball off, and with the football, it's Dye, and we have a flag coming in late. Right up the middle for the Millers.
This ought to be a hold on the Millers, I would think, based on where it's thrown.
Came out, the Laundry did, just as he was powering through that line.
So offensive holding on Springfield. They'll mark it back 10 and make it first now and about 16, 17 yards.
Ball spotted at the 23-yard line. Going out to the left, your receivers, Jordan Vega and Caleb Lemley. Looking right is the quarterback, Wargo.
And again, some good pressure on him that time by Bryson Cannon from his defensive end spot right in the quarterback's face, and he has to get rid of it quickly and throws it over his receiver out in the flat.
Cannon, 1 sack so far on the season. The Challengers overall as a team in 4 games with 13. A sack leader, their linebacker, Kristen Wallace.
And they forgot to stop the clock, so a little clock adjustment there.
Wargo out of the gun. Hands Lopez. Lopez has got some running room to the left. He'll recover some of that.
And there's a
penalty
face
yardage.
mask, I think. I think that's what the call is going to be. Or a horse collar, one or the other. Somebody got, that was just a weird grab of the running back. And I think it's going to be a horse collar, it looks like, against the Challengers.
So they pick up the flag. Now checking into the ball game.
Yeah, it's a horse collar.
Checking in is TJ Daniel. And they'll march off the penalty against Cascade Christian. And the Challengers in serious danger here as the ball is moved
all the
down
way
to the 6-yard line. Yeah. And the Challengers, nice stop in the backfield. We see Tyler Almacy over there. Austin Waits around the football. They've just got a lot of guys that really fly to the football. The good aggressiveness there on the defensive side.
Yeah, loss of a couple that time, and not allowing them to get around the end. You know, they've got around the end a couple of different times and picked up some good chunks of yardage, but that time the Challengers not letting them do that, and ends up being a tackle for loss.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 2. Ball spotted at the 7-yard line. Out wide to the left for the Millers. We have a number 7, which I don't have on the roster, but now we've got running play here for Springfield.
Looks like maybe a yard. Going to be 4th down and a yard.
Well, they're deep there, I think probably, yeah, at least in terms of what they're going to do. It's a no-brainer here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, unless you want to put 3 points up, you could certainly do that.
Yes.
But 4th and 1 in high school, you're probably just going to sneak it. Let's see what they do here.
Oh, 4th down and 1 to go. Receivers out to the left, Lemley and Trujillo. Little long count action there. And now we have a flag.
Delay a game, I think. Yes. Delay a game against the Millers.
So that'll move them back a little bit. So now a 4th and 1 becomes a 4th and 6. Whereas it's probably easily called something like a quarterback sneak or some type of running play. Now you have to think a little bit more about your options.
Yeah, absolutely. 4th and 6 now for the Millers.
I think probably if you were the Challengers offensively, you'd say, let's go ahead and take the kicker out there.
Well, I don't understand why they wouldn't have just called timeout either, They didn't jump offside and they want to go for it at 4th and 1, just call a timeout. But instead of that, they end up taking the 5-yard penalty, and that makes it a lot more difficult for them here in this situation.
Kind of a funky snap there. Throwing the football is Wargo. Pass ball's incomplete. And once again, the defense for the Challengers bending but not breaking.
Second turnover on downs by the Millers inside the 10. And the Challengers now take the ball over. I guess it was just outside the 10 at the 12.
Now, we've talked about a lot of patterns that we've seen thus far in the ballgame, but what I have not seen is what a Challenger offensive pattern has been in the last couple of ball games in terms of going to the short passing game early to Tyler Almacy.
Yeah, Tyler Almacy and others. And also the running game. Sample had a good, they've only ran the ball 3 times. Sample had a nice 15-yard run on one, and, the scramble by Keith Reed, 15 yards on the other play. So lots of things in the Challenger playbook to try here. Remember, they've only run 6 plays so far. And one of those was an interception on a trick play.
So Challengers come out, twins to the right, twins to the left. For receivers, Reed. He'll hand the ball off on first down, and once again, this time it's Cameron Ragu. And he'll get out across the 20-yard line up to the 22. This is going to be a kid, I'll tell you, Mark. They're going to find it harder and harder, in spite of the fact he's a freshman, to keep him off the field.
Yeah, he's a tough kid and very quick and athletic, and picks up 13 yards on that run right there.
Challengers, 1st and 10. And once again, they'll go to the ground. This time, Ragu has it once again. Looks like from here, maybe he picked up a couple of yards on the play to bring up 2nd down. And they'll spot the ball at the 25. So pickup of 3 on the play. Four receivers set. Reed dropping back, looking left. Pass complete to Sample.
Sample had a little trouble catching that football, and because of that, wasn't able to get up the field in rhythm. And that timing, the whole timing of the play was sort of messed up, and it looks like that play is going to actually lose at least a yard there.
Dye and Daniel around the football for the Millers, so that'll bring up a 3rd down and 10 for Cascade with Ragu in the backfield. Receivers out to the left are Sample, and I believe that is Tyler Almacy there. Can't get a real good look. Yeah, it is Almacy, and he goes in motion now to the right side. And we have a flag on the play. This is going to go against Cascade.
And I don't know about that one. Did you see anybody move on the Challengers? I saw one of the linemen from Springfield move.
Mm-hmm.
But they called the false start on the Challengers. So, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But now it's Challengers in 3rd and 15.
30 seconds left here in the first quarter of play. Scoreless ball game. Almacy in motion. Reed, pump fake. Looks downfield, looking for Sample. Sample can't quite get there.
Boy, and he was open down the field. And a good decision, actually, by Keith Reed to come back on the backside and throw it to Sample. But you got to throw it where you can catch it. Unfortunately, overthrown. And so far, Keith Reed just 1 for 5 passing the football in this game.
Look out here on the field tonight. One of our guests here in the booth this evening, longtime radio voice, Bill Crawford here paying us a visit this evening. This one of a couple of grass fields you'll find around the state. The other one happened to be at Thurston, not far away. So, yeah, you're seeing the real deal. The cows can eat this stuff.
Not too many of them left.
Nope. And Knobloch.
Nice punt for a bad snap.
Yeah, he really was fortunate to get that one away. He gets off a decent kick. That'll come out to the 49-yard line, and with 5 seconds to go in the first quarter of play, the Millers take over. But unfortunately for Cascade, and it's a mixture of things. A turnover, and unfortunately the Challengers -1 in the giveaway takeaway category so far this year. They're good at creating turnovers. Unfortunately, they've been a little unfortunate in committing turnovers.
Well, absolutely, and then the fact that they also turned the ball over on downs when they should have punted out at about the 30-yard line on the last possession. So they really haven't done much offensively so far, just 2 first downs in the football game.
5 seconds to go in the first. 3 receivers set for the Millers. And the Challengers, they're having nothing of this running play as the Millers drag down at the 45-yard line, and that'll end the first quarter of play. Your John L. Scott scoreboard shows a scoreless ball game. We'll take a quick timeout, and when we return, we've got more Millers and Challengers coming for you right here on Table Rock Sports.
At 3 o'clock, Carter's campaign for class president will go live. His platform?
Thirsty for change?
Juice boxes for all. At 4, Liz will bid online and win.
Yes! Yes!
Which is why at 2, I'm down the street preparing for the storm. So no matter what, the show will go on.
Daily adventures start right here at Pinnacle 365. You'll find exactly what you need for your morning motivation. Later in the day, add some crunch to your lunch with crispy, crunchy chickens, mouth-watering chicken, and chicken tenders. Wherever your next adventure takes you, we're here to keep you energized throughout the day. And our new Peak Rewards program helps you save money on fuel so you can travel further for less. Daily adventures are better with Pinnacle 365.
Back here at Silky Field in Springfield, the Millers and the Challengers scoreless ball game. The defense of the Challengers holding up pretty strong. Meanwhile, the offense having its struggles early on. The good news is, if you're a Challenger fan, they tend to work these issues out as the game goes on. Wargo, the quarterback, he's getting all kinds of pressure. He was looking for Connor Dye there, but I think he was a little bit worried about dying himself there.
Well, that was supposed to be a screen pass, and the lineman let the defensive lineman go like they're supposed to, and it didn't look like Dye was quite ready to catch the football. And unfortunately, he had to get rid of it due to the pressure and incomplete. So far, both quarterbacks struggling completing passes. So far in this game, it's been very much a running game so far.
3rd down and 15. Ball at the Millers' own 45. Wargo, that ball is batted. I believe that was Cannon that got a hand on it.
It was.
And he's just one of those guys, and I had him in my broadcasting class a couple of years ago as a sophomore, and he's one of those guys who kind of quietly goes about his business, and if you don't account for him at some point, he'll turn up big on you like he did there. Now it's a 4th down and 15.
So Wargo just 1 for 9 throwing the football so far. Keith Reed not much better at 1 for 5. So both quarterbacks struggling to complete passes in this one.
Now the kicking unit, it's like, hey, wait a minute, I think we can put one more in there. So they've got Vega in there as a protector. Ball kicked away by Wargo. It hits the turf and smothering it for the Challengers. Yeah, looks like that might be Peyton Maurer at the bottom of that pile.
Peyton Maurer still blocking, and all of a sudden the ball ends up hitting him in the leg, and he's smart enough to just jump on it right there at the spot. Challengers with decent field position out at the 30 to start this drive. Let's see. Actually, probably one of the best field positions they've had in this game so far. Most of them have been inside inside the 10 or the 20. So see if the offense can find some rhythm. They sure didn't find much of it in that first quarter.
Challengers over the sideline. Brain Trust talking things over. And the Millers out defensively. We see in there number 57, Chase Sattler, along that defensive line. Also out there is Ale Gutierrez, wearing number 40. And then in the corner is Jordan Vega. We also have Julian Gomez. Now in motion is Tyler Almacy from the right side. And Reed, he doesn't take off often and run with the football. But when he does, it's usually because he's made a pretty good decision with that kind of read option type of play.
Picks up about 3 yards and gets a little bit of forward lean there for the Challengers.
Angular quarterback at 6'2", 175 pounds. He's there with Wallace in the backfield. And not sure what...
I think he has a broken clasp on his hand warmer, so he just got rid of it.
Little toss play to Tristan Wallace. Wallace gets across the 35-yard line, gets up to about the 36 with his forward momentum before he is brought down. So you mentioned Challengers, some degree of success here in the ground game. Now we look at a 3rd down and 4. Maurer, the receiver, split out wide to the right. They're in tight over on the left side. We see Sample over there as part of the receiver group. Reed hands the ball to Wallace. Wallace spins through, gets across the 40 to the 42, and a Challenger first down.
So maybe a little momentum here getting going for the Challengers. Nice little spin and a 5-yard gain. Another first down, just the 3rd of the game for the Cascade Christian. Wallace, we like his forward lean, and he runs very hard, and he's a tough guy to bring down, and that time little extra effort gets the Challengers the first down.
Almacy will come out as the slot receiver to the right side. He's over there with Maurer. Over on the left side is Sample. On first down, almost a little bit like a stretch play, and they hand it to Wallace. He'll barrel his way forward for a gain of about almost 4 on the play. He didn't look like much at first, but the effort got him a little more.
Springfield doing a good job, though, of sort of making the Challengers work for every yard they're getting. And no big plays so far for Cascade Christian.
2nd down and 6. Reed looking left. Pass complete to Sample. He's got first down yardage and a little bit more.
Yeah, nice job by Sample. I love how he accelerates after he catches the football there. And you can see that he's got that breakaway speed. That's why they like him in the backfield occasionally. Picks up about 10 yards and a Challenger first down on just the 2nd completed pass from Keith Reed so far in this one.
For Sample, his 2nd catch of the game, his 12th reception of the year. Almacy leads the way for the Challengers. So first down and 10, fresh set of downs for Cascade Christian. Reed looking out to the right, pass complete to Peyton Maurer, but also right there with them to make the stop is Jordan Vega.
Yeah, not much of a gain on that play. But I like the fact that Keith Reed's starting to make good decisions and complete passes. That's 2 for 2 now, the last couple, and see if that offense can get some rhythm here. They picked up a couple of first downs already in this drive.
2nd down, 9. Shields, the slot receiver to the left. Sample out there. Almacy in motion from the right. Reed going to roll to his left. Throws on the run. And his pass off target.
He's got to switch his feet there and make a good throw because he has Almacy out there in the flat. And Tyler can run with it after he catches it. But that one just sails right over his head. And that's too bad for the Challengers. Could have been a nice game.
Well, and to be fair, it's not a really particularly easy throw, at least I don't think, to be a right-handed quarterback running to your left trying to throw it.
Well, and that's where, like I said, you've got to stop and switch those feet and get
Yeah.
that shoulder pointed toward the target. He never really finishes that and does that. And that footwork, if you don't do it, what happens is you end up throwing the ball high, and that's exactly what we saw there.
Ball at the 45. 3rd down and 9 for Cascade with 8:01 to go in the second quarter of play. Reed dropping back, looking long, looking downfield, pass complete to Waits. First down, Challengers.
Yeah, nice throw that time by Keith Reed to his favorite receiver of the year, I think, for the most part, Austin Waits. And Waits gets, about 12 yards on the play and a Challenger first down.
That'll move the sticks for the Challengers. This will put the ball down right around the 30-yard line. Challengers come in tight toward the line on the right side. Reed hands to Wallace. Wallace has some running room. He bursts through.
Nice gain by Tristan. And he, as you mentioned, he just burst through the hole. Just a little hole there, but he's able to exploit it and pick up about 8 yards and get the Challengers at second and short.
He's not a little dude at 200 pounds, but I tell you what, a nice burst there, deceptively quick. Pickup of 8 on the play gives them a 2nd down and 2. Challengers, their first sustained drive of the evening.
Now Brody Sample back in the backfield for Cascade Christian.
Reed hands to Sample. Sample has first down yardage. And I like how he does a nice job there of letting his blockers set up in front of him.
Yeah, he's a little more of a pick his hole and then accelerate through it kind of guy, where Wallace is more of just a downhill runner. And you see that a little bit with Sample as he figures out a little hole to get through and picks up about 5 yards and gives the Challengers a first down. 4 first downs now on the drive for Cascade Christian. And a little bit of momentum offensively finally.
Challengers on the move with 6:40 to go in the half. Sample remains in the backfield. Trip receivers out to the right end tight. Reed looking downfield, now has some pressure coming out. He's going to go ahead and take off and run with it, and he'll scamper out of bounds.
Boy, had tons of time that time. Good job by that offensive line of giving him some time to look, but most of the receivers pretty well covered down the field. Not a lot of different places to go with the football, so makes a good decision, pulls it down, and gets about 4, and sets the Challengers up in 2nd and 6.
Probably both sides of the ball feeling pretty decent about that play. The Millers preventing a big play for Cascade Christian. Meanwhile, the Challengers getting something positive out of it. 6:21 to go on the half. Miller defensively. Knobloch in there, and once again, the hand is to Brody Sample.
Yep, Brody Sample with the carry. Looks like he got about a 3-yard gain to bring up 3rd and about 3.
Wallace back in the ball game. Knobloch coming out, so now Sample will move to a receiver spot.
So big 3rd down opportunity here for Cascade. Getting down inside the red zone. First time tonight that they've been there.
Challengers down at the 10. And Reed completes the pass. And that is to Waits. Waits
Touchdown.
barrels downfield. Touchdown, Challengers.
10-yard touchdown pass that time. Well-designed play as the 2 outside receivers go in and the inside receiver goes out. And whoever was guarding Austin Waits got kind of lost in the traffic. And a nice 10-yard touchdown pass from Keith Reed to Waits. It puts the Challengers on the board.
For Austin, that is his 3rd touchdown reception of the season. And he gets the Challengers on the board first as JT Knobloch will come in to attempt the point after out of the hold of Keith Reed. Snap, the kick, it is up, and it is good. Your John L. Scott scoreboard. With 5:34 to go in the first half, it's the Challengers up 7-0. We'll be back after these messages on Table Rock Sports.
Power Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford. We're stocked up with a great selection of new vehicles from Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and of course, Ram trucks. Choose from one of our largest inventories ever of new Jeep Cherokee 4x4s. Test drive a new Ram 1500 and see why Ram is Motor Trend's back-to-back-to-back three-peat truck of the year. And remember, we've added the convenience of test drives from your home and an online process to purchase and deliver your new vehicle. Get Ram Power Days special pricing on every new vehicle in stock only at the Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford Superstore.
Dear Dad, I was afraid to say this to your face, but I heard you yelling again from the stands during my game. You were shouting at the coach, the refs, even the other parents. It embarrasses me when you yell at everyone. It really stresses me out. I love sports, I love my team, I just want to play, but not if you always lose your temper. Love, Katie.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.com.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Can you...
Oh.
No, never mind. I got it. I got it.
All right. Challengers getting ready to kick it away, leading in the ball game 7-0. JT Knobloch once again gets a good foot on it. It's taken it to the 6-yard line by Springfield. Looks like Dye there with the football. He weaves his way through traffic, and he's proven to be a slippery one as he gets his way out past the 20-yard line. Want to recognize some of the Challenger Athletics sponsors, and those include Metal Masters Heating and Air, serving Southern Oregon since 1968. Also, a shout-out to Mahar Homes Incorporated and the Dove Radio, TV, online, and mobile, providing hope and affirming faith.
So the Challengers with a great drive right there, and took a bunch of time off the clock. And really, this is just the third play of the quarter now for Springfield. After that long Challenger possession turns into 7 points and puts the Challengers on the board.
Millers, 3-receiver set and a high snap. Wargo's going to have to run back there and fall on it as he sees Cole Shields coming his way.
Yeah.
That would behoove me to do something and do it fast. So a big loss on the play.
About a 15-yard loss.
Ouch.
So puts the Millers in deep trouble here with 4:58 to go in the second quarter.
And Challengers have been pretty solid defensively. This can't be a situation that they're liking much here in terms of getting that back. Wargo now getting some pressure. Pass complete, however, and making the catch and picking up some yardage and working his way up to the 37-yard line. Catch made by Dwayne Fada, and he gets the Millers. Not only does he get them out of trouble, he picks them up a first down.
Well, great call, the screen pass to Fada, and he does a great job of staying on his feet and getting it all the way out to the 40 for like a 25-yard gain.
So the Millers with new life here as they look to try to come up with an answer to the touchdown scored by Cascade. 1st and 10. Handoff. And running it up the middle for Springfield. Julian Gomez with the rock. He picks up 2 on the play to bring up 2nd down and 8.
Actually a 30-yard gain on that last play.
Wow.
For the Millers. Really changes the field position, gets them out of that snap trouble. And now 2nd and 8.
Wargo. Back on his left and a back on his right. He'll go ahead and hand the football off and running downfield and picking up first down yardage. He had plenty of good blocking out there for him. That is Connor Dye. And the Millers find themselves now in Challenger territory.
Yeah, Dye runs really hard and seems to be the one that's the Challengers are having the trouble, taking down. The first guy does not knock him down. He's a good, tough running back. Now the Millers with a little offensive rhythm here in the second quarter.
Give a call out to the left side of that Millers line. Diego Medina Looks like we also have Cameron Van Etten out there. And now a little bit of trouble for the Millers. And not surprisingly, one of the lead troublemakers for the Challengers is Tristan Wallace.
Yeah, about a 5-yard loss on sort of a bad snap again. This one low and fumbled. And unfortunately for the Millers, Wargo has to just pick it up, and basically by the time he picks it up, there's 2 or 3 challengers around him.
So that'll spot the ball that just outside the 50-yard line. Here on this pleasant Thursday evening up here in Springfield.
Clock's starting to become maybe a little bit of an issue for the Millers, 2:27 and counting.
Wargo, and it looked like he had that pass batted by a Challenger defender.
He did, and he had an open receiver out there in the flat as well.
So now the Millers find themselves in a 3rd down and long as they try to right the ship here after the Challenger touchdown, a pass from Keith Reed to Austin Waits. Ball at midfield. And again, a little bit of trouble there in the backfield, a fumble, and the Challengers have it.
Yeah, Bryson Cannon in there to get the fumble. And that was one Wargo dropped. He picked back up again, and Bryson Cannon looked like he just knocked it out of his hands and took it from him. So the Challengers get it back.
So Cascade Christian coming up with a big play defensively. And the Millers, who had a couple of big plays on offense and got out of some trouble, find themselves back in trouble again.
Yeah, 2:04 to go here in the half. And you know, Coach Getman loves to score points at the end of the half, especially when he gets the football back to start the 3rd quarter. So big opportunity here for the Challenger offense to put some more points on the board before halftime.
So you think he goes for it all on 1st down?
Oh, I think he'll take a shot. He usually does.
So it'll be Peyton Maurer, receiver split out wide to the right. Slot on his side is Austin Waits. Over on the left side, we see Brody Sample. Inside slot man is Tyler Almacy. Reed dropping back, looking left, pass. Ooh, looks like a little underthrown there.
Yeah, intended for Almacy out there, and he was open, little square out. Had his defensive back just turning his hips to go, thinking he was going deep, and he curled that out, and he was open for a 1st down. And Keith Reed, you mentioned, just a little short on the throw.
And I just love this time of year. So many different things going on. Football, we're right around the corner from the World Series. NBA and hockey will be underway pretty soon. Reed throwing a pass. Once again, he's looking out there, but the accuracy just not there.
Well, and that time looked like Almacy slipped a little bit on the edge of the grass out there. You know, most of the challengers have shorter cleats, used to playing on the turf, and you get out on the edge of a crowned field this time of night, sometimes it can be slick.
Checking out the Major League scoreboard, Game 5 of the National League Division Series, scoreless ball game in the 5th inning. So that was going to go to the wire.
Wouldn't expect it any other way, would you?
I wouldn't think so. You get one team with 107 wins, another team with 106. Meeting too early in our collective opinions.
Yep.
3rd down and 10.
Getman doesn't like it. He called timeout.
And probably a good call as far as that goes. What we'll do right now, we'll go ahead and take a moment to recognize our sponsors. John L. Scott Scoreboard shows the Challengers up 7-0. We'll be back after these messages. TableRockSports.net.
Choose a company that best represents you and our local community.
Choose a company that focuses on relationships rather than transactions.
Choose a company that empowers their employees and provides growth opportunities from within.
Choose a company that shows compassion and rises to the occasion in times of need.
Call a John L. Scott broker today.
This year, don't just replace your windows, renew them with beautiful and energy-efficient windows from Bill's Glass. Having new windows installed by Bill's Glass dramatically update and improves the look of your home and helps reduce energy bills year-round. Let Bill's Glass show you what you've been missing. Bill's Glass, the largest glass company in Southern Oregon for your home or auto, as well as the trusted industry leader for over 50 years. Bill's Glass in Ashland, Medford, and Grants Pass.
Keith Reed with the football on a 3rd down and 10. He's going to go ahead and take off and run with it. He's trying to run hard towards those sticks.
And I think he's close, but I don't think he quite got there. Let's see where they mark it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he's really close, but
it's going to be 4th and 1. So he picks up about 9. A nice effort by him to get close.
So it'll be a 4th down.
Well, and you know Coach Getman's going to go for this one, clear down in Miller territory.
Reed. I hand the ball off to Wallace. Wallace easily picks up the 1st down as he gets inside the 30, works it to the 27.
Yeah, he gets about 5 yards and a nice burst there for the Challengers. Cascade now 90 yards rushing in the first half, only 32 yards through the air. We're used to seeing a little more balance out of that offense. But so far the run game has been dominant here in the first half.
1:19 left to go in the half. Sample in motion. And they fake the handoff, and then Reed's going to toss it to Wallace. Wallace.
On the screen play. Wallace gets a couple yards, and now Cascade's going to have to use a timeout because they didn't get a 1st down. Remember, in high school, if you get a 1st down, the clock stops so they can move the chains, but here they only picked up about 4 yards, so the clock's not going to stop, so Getman wisely calls a timeout with 57 seconds to go.
We'll go ahead and keep it right here for the time being. And we're mentioning those who support Challenger Athletics and help keep our programs running smoothly and keeping them well funded. Those sponsors include Wilson Equipment, Bobcat, and Doosan in Central Point. Also, Hart Insurance at heartinsurance.com. And Shady Cove Family Dentistry, Dr. Luke Murphy, DMD. 7-0 ball game right before halftime, and it has not been easy
for either
the Challenger. No.
A defensively dominated game, really, so far. Challengers with about 130 yards of offense, and the Millers with about 90 yards of offense. So neither team really doing much offensively in the first half.
2nd and 5.
And we got 2 Challengers moving. So that'll cost them 5.
Okay, that didn't go so well.
No, it did not.
So they'll walk this off against Cascade Christian. And that'll move the football back. Now it makes it a 2nd down and 11. 57 seconds to go on the clock. Reed looking to the sideline. Tight formation, but Reed looking to throw. Looking downfield, has time. Pass complete to Austin Waits. He'll scamper inside the 5, and he gets out of bounds.
At about the 1. So a nice job by Austin of picking up about 25 yards.
Oh, and they're calling a touchdown.
Oh, they are going to call it a touchdown. So it's a 27-yard touchdown pass there. Is there a flag down? It's in the end zone. Maybe celebration after the fact.
Was that celebration enough really to warrant a flag? Of course, now what we don't know is what may have been said.
Oh, it must be against the Millers because it looked like they were asking Getman if he wanted to take it. It is a touchdown.
Wait a minute.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the defense, which I'm guessing will be taken on the kickoff.
JT Knobloch Scott ready to attempt the point after. Kick up. Right down Broadway. It's good. 47 seconds to go on the half. Now the Challengers up by a pair of scores. We'll take a quick timeout right here. We'll be back with more in 60 seconds.
It takes meticulous planning, continuous monitoring, and forward thinking to deliver the perfect 3-egg omelet.
Sherm's Thunderbird Market has been serving Southern Oregon for over 50 years. We are thankful and proud to be able to say that our employees are like family, and we certainly couldn't serve Southern Oregon so well without them.
I love my job, and what better place to work than for the people who care about you and your community.
We really are treated more like family rather than just employees.
Our loyal customers make my job fun and more enjoyable.
Sherm's is now hiring. Go to our website to see what positions are available.
And he gets extra steps on this one.
Back here at Silky Field in Springfield, the Challengers up 14-0 on the strength of a pair of touchdown tosses from Keith Reed to Austin Waits, who sat out last week against St. Mary's with an ankle injury, but he's showing no ill effects tonight. And a little kick along the ground, kind of an onside kick look. Scramble
I think the Challengers got it.
And the Challengers have it. Well.
Nope. I take it back. Recovered by the Millers. My mistake.
Look what we have here.
Well, I thought the Challengers got it, but apparently not.
Well,
it was close. It's
it was.
Interesting try. Give him that.
Well, JT's got the footwork to make it happen.
Yeah, that was a good. Looked like he was going to kick it deep, and he kind of cross-kicked it for a short kick, and the Millers were apparently paying attention, and they ended up, looked like for a second the Challengers had a shot at that.
It did. And, kind of here in a spot where with 47 seconds left to go on the half, why not?
Yeah, you might see them take a shot down the field here. Let's see what they do. Middle should be open against this too-deep safety look for the Challengers.
Morgo.
They're just going to hand the ball off.
And they probably at this moment wish they hadn't.
Yeah, Tristan Wallace, again, making his presence felt. 2-yard loss on the play for the Millers.
Died the ball carrier on that play. And run defense, well, they say this. It's often been said that the key to winning football is to run well and defend the run. And the Challengers are doing both pretty effectively this evening.
They are. Much better in the second quarter than they did in the first, however.
And here on 2nd and 12, nice burst there. And settling all of that took long enough that time has run out on the first half of play. Your score at halftime. The Cascade Christian Challengers 14. And the Springfield Millers yet to get on the board. We'll take a timeout, pause for messages, and then we'll be back with your halftime report. We'll take a look at stats from the first half and recap the scoring for you. So stick around. We've got more coming your way on Table Rock Sports.
Workers' comp claim was denied. Or was it accepted? Now what are you supposed to do? Find out for free. Call Schlesinger and de Villeneuve immediately and let us fight for you.
Since 1991, Medford area residents have looked to Eye Care Associates of Southern Oregon for vision care for the whole family. Specializing in optometry for adults and children, ECA uses state-of-the-art diagnostic tools to scan for health risks and get your prescription just right. Get your students a comprehensive vision check to ensure they have their best chance to learn and succeed. And look good while you see well. Specialists in our optical boutique have extensive styles on hand or can special order. We hope to see your family at Eye Care Associates of Southern Oregon. Visit eyecaresouthernoregon.com to learn more.
Waiting, even a few days, to report a work injury or illness could cost you everything. But how do you know what you should do? Find out for free. Call Schlesinger and de Villeneuve immediately and let us fight for you.
You're a coach, or plan to be a coach. What kind of coach do you want to be? This?
Hey! What is that? Come on, guy! You're killing me!
Or this?
I love it. I love what I see. I don't care about the mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Guys making millions of dollars on Sunday, they make mistakes.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.org.
There's a time machine, not so far away, that takes you back to a world just a few streets wide, where wonder rules the day, and families are transformed, from the smallest bug-eyed explorer to that surliest know-it-all. So dive into the past and let them see the world through a simpler lens, called Southern Oregon. Their adventure begins when you travel Medford.
Your score at the half, the Cascade Christian Challengers leading in this one by a score of 14-0. Now, again, if you joined us late, we saw a lot of the things that we have seen in the Challenger football games so far this year. Defensively coming out strong and limiting the Millers' ground game, and it looked like definitely that was one of their keys to the ball game, was to try to be able to play a little bit of ball control and keep the Challenger offense off the field. But the Challengers effective defensively and in terms of limiting big play opportunities for the Millers. Unfortunately, one of the things we've also seen as a trend early in the season is the Challengers kind of going in fits and starts offensively, that they'll make a couple of good plays and then either a penalty or a turnover will come into play. Well, the Challengers, their first play from scrimmage, they tried a little trickery as Reed went to Shields, and then Shields tried to throw the ball downfield. Unfortunately, he threw an interception. The Millers got it back, but were unable to do anything with it. And this kind of went that way for a while until we got into the second quarter. And actually with a 5:34 to go in the half, so a deep run into the second quarter before the Challengers scored. It was Keith Reed connecting with Austin Waits after a good, long, sustained drive by the Challengers. The point after attempt good by Knobloch, good to make it 7-0. And then with 47 seconds left to go in the half, it was Keith Reed with a 27-yard touchdown strike to Waits. The point after attempt good as the Challengers take a 14-0 lead at halftime. So the Challengers in good stead here and closing out the half well. And once again, they start out the second half with the football, Mark.
Yeah, the first half statistics so far in the football game. Springfield had 6 first downs, rushing yards, 19 carries for just 46 yards. So the defense doing a good job of limiting the rushing attack of Springfield. Passing, there were just 2 for 11. For 51 yards, so kind of a rough night for them, both running and throwing the football. So that Challenger defense has been doing a great job of really containing the quarterback, Wargo, and so he hasn't been able to do a whole lot this evening. Return yards, Springfield had 20. Total offense for Springfield, 117 yards. They had 2 penalties for 15 yards, and they fumbled the ball once, with the Challengers recovered and eventually turned into points. They also had 2 turnovers on downs deep in Challengers territory where they had some chances to put some other points on the board and just weren't able to capitalize on those. One of which, the Challengers gave them the football on their on the Challenger 30 when they turned the ball over on downs, if you remember correctly. So right. Springfield has certainly had some chances in the first half to put some points on the board, but that Challenger defense has been stiff. And only 97 yards of running and passing offense for Springfield in the first half. For Cascade Christian, they had 8 first downs, rushing yards. Cascade 15 carries for 90 yards, so a nice even keel on the ground for the Challengers. Passing, Keith Reed 7 for 14. There is 1 interception, but he didn't throw it. As you mentioned, Shields with that interception. for 63 yards. So the Challengers with 153 yards of offense in that first half. And Cascade Christian, 5 penalties, 35 yards. And they had the 1 turnover on downs. It's just been a sort of the Challenger MO so far this season to really, the defense has been pretty steady. The offense has struggled a bit in the first half especially. We saw it more in the first quarter with a good, kind of a nice second quarter for the Challengers to get them the 14-0 lead. But, offense has got to figure out a way to get started at the beginning of the game and not waiting until the end.
Well, you get the funny feeling as we look ahead to next week in South Umpqua coming into town for the Challengers homecoming that this is the team right now that everybody's talking about, the one creating all the buzz. I mean, we're talking about a Lancers program. Not 2 years ago, we were over there for a game, and it was a wipeout. The team decimated by injuries at the time, and just, the Challengers football team in strong shape at the time and all the things you would expect. Last year, you could see the Lancers getting a lot closer, a lot of improvement in the spring when these two teams played. The Challengers prevailed, but the Lancers made things interesting. Now we're talking, they're going around and just laying the wood to their opposition. And you have to think, if you're Cascade Christian, that could be us if we don't solve some things and get some things cleaned up.
Yeah, but again, the defense has been solid. They managed to get the 14 points on the board and keep the Millers out of the end zone. So you got to be happy with that. If you're Coach Getman going into the second half, you get the football here. It can really put a lot of pressure on the Millers by just scoring a touchdown here to start the third quarter.
And I'm going to put a shout-out down the way. I know that the Cascade Christian Challenger girls volleyball team at Action Night, senior night, recognizing their one lone senior this year, Callie Sweem, and like to hear from you in terms of how the match went so we can pass it along to everybody viewing tonight's event. I just made mention of it earlier and want to remind you that coming up next week is the big homecoming game. The Challengers and the Lancers at U.S. Cellular Community Park, field number 10, the lone football field in the complex. And it's going to be a great one. It's also a great opportunity. Alumni, we've got a lot of great stuff for you if you show up in attendance. It's always nice to see, and we saw a little bit of that last week with some recent graduates of Cascade Christian coming out and supporting their team. Remember seeing Gabe Pearson at the ball game along with Ben Dunn. Also, he wasn't a football player at Cascade, but Dominic Lewis in town, a guy that played basketball and soccer for the Challengers in years past, and all of that. So that's coming up this next week, and you'll want to make sure that you check out that ball game. We've got all kinds of great things going on. And then tomorrow, that will be the homecoming game, and we've got a great homecoming court this year, and invite you to come out and show your support for your alma mater. Before we go to break, I want to remind you that Eye Care Associates of Southern Oregon at 950 Royal Avenue in Medford have a wide range of eye care services for the entire family. Visit eyecaresouthern.com to see how Dr. Brian Mitchell and his team can keep your family's vision clearly focused. Time for a little break. We'll catch our breath, get you ready for the start of the second half. The Challengers lead this ball game by a score of 14-0. And we'll be back after this timeout on Table Rock Sports.
You're a coach or plan to be a coach. What kind of coach do you want to be? This?
Hey! What is that? Come on, guy! You're killing me!
Or this?
I love it. I love what I see. I don't care about the mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Guys making millions of dollars on Sunday, they make mistakes.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.org.
There's a time machine, not so far away, that takes you back to a world just a few streets wide, where wonder rules the day, and families are transformed, from the smallest bug-eyed explorer to that surliest know-it-all. So dive into the past and let them see the world through a simpler lens, called Southern Oregon. Their adventure begins when you travel Medford.
I think there are now 41 dairy marts around here. Oh, nice. Here in
Game day or a family get-together.
Sherm's has the quality products and prices that will make you cheer. Sherm's Thunderbird Market, Medford's original discount grocery store.
Fuel your daily adventure at My Circle K. Whether it's some Monday motivation to kickstart your day, adding some crunch to your lunch, or fueling up for a road trip, your journey begins with My Circle K, powered by GP Energy.
It went wonky here. Back here at Silky Field, we just got a report that the Cascade Christian Challengers volleyball team swept it tonight. So Callie Swaim gets a, not only does she get some recognition for her contributions to the Challenger volleyball program, also we see her out on the basketball court and on the softball diamond and getting some recognition tonight, but she has a W to commemorate as well. As the Challengers, we keep, this is a theme going over and over again. We've talked about that Challenger graduating class this year, a small one with just 31 students, and all the other classes pretty good size, but all your teams, well, we're talking about, we basically have about 3-4 seniors on the football team that play much, and then one senior on the volleyball team, 2 seniors on the girls' soccer team. And as far as the cross-country team goes, I think Jake Serrani might be the only senior there. And boy, is he ever tearing it up this year. And they didn't have an official state championship back in the spring, but unofficially, he won a state championship individually for Cascade. But what's nice this year is we have a fully stocked girls and boys cross-country team, and our hats off to all the Challenger sports. And it's good to see things going well once again for Cascade. It was Douglas. All right. So, a sweep over Douglas. And the Challenger girls in volleyball, again, a young team, only one senior on it. Really a lot of leadership in terms of making plays from the sophomores on that team, but after kind of a rough start and some non-conference action, right now they are tied with Sutherland for just one loss atop the Far West League, and those two teams splitting their season series, so looks like another tough competitive race to the finish in Southern Oregon volleyball. I want to remind you that in terms of keeping up with Cascade Christian Challenger sports, don't forget about our website, Challenger Athletics. Challenger Athletics, we give you all the scores there, give you some details, and maybe a few feature stories that you won't find anywhere else. Also, thanks to the many fine contributions of photographers like Yonora Freilich and Max Brown and some of the other people, Scaglionis with the middle school football program, that we've got a lot that we can bring your way. And so when you want to keep up with what's going on there, make sure you check out the Challenger Athletics website. The Millers are out on the field. They're getting warmed up and ready to go for the start of the second half. You can see on the scoreboard it is the Challengers 14. The Millers scoreless. Will take a timeout. And then we'll get ready for the start of the second half right here on Table Rock Sports.
Seen a new way to achieve the highest level of savings. Peak Rewards. The Peak Rewards app is your roadmap to savings wherever your journey takes you. Simply by using our mobile app, you can shop for a mountain of savings in any of our convenience stores and fuel up for less. Just download the Peak Rewards app, register, find participating stations and stores near you, and start saving. With Peak Rewards, you can travel further for less. So what are you waiting for? Download Peak Rewards today and find a location near you.
Here at Silky Field in Springfield, the Challengers and the Millers get start for the second half of play. Cascade will receive the football. And let's see if, in terms of trends, ones that if you're a Challenger fan you do have to like, is they start out the second half well.
Yeah, they have done real well in the third quarter this year in general. And so it's been nice to see them come out after halftime and make those adjustments and have good third quarters. And so far we've seen that, especially against St. Mary's last week. where they put some points up on the board immediately after halftime and really pulled away from St. Mary's to make that fourth quarter rather comfortable for the Challengers going down the stretch.
And a report from the major leagues. Let's make sure we're completely up to date here, but at last look, the Giants had pulled even with the Dodgers at 1 apiece. And that is going to be
that game's got to go to extra innings. I mean, it just has to, right?
It's only fitting that it does. I was going to say, at the rate we're going, you and I might be able to listen to the finish of it on the way home.
Yeah, exactly.
And they started before we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Logan Webb having another solid outing tonight, only 4 hits in 6 innings of work, 6 strikeouts. The Dodgers predictably kind of doing the pitch by committee approach. Corey Knievel starting the ball game, pitched just an inning. Then Gratterall pitched an inning, and then it's been Julio Urias going from there. But if it gets, and here's the thing, I'm speaking as a Dodger fan, and I know you're a Giants guy, Mark, but if it gets down to this kind of thing where it really becomes a pitcher's duel, as a Dodger fan, I become a little bit more concerned.
Well, it's just, it's baseball, right? A home run can win it from anybody at that point.
All you need is one.
That's all you need
at
the right time. So, and which would, again, be fitting for this these two teams having to play each other here so early in the playoffs.
Well, mark my words, and like I said, if you're a Dodger fan, you can't really be much of a Giants fan and vice versa. But I will say this, whoever comes out of this series a winner, I think there's your World Series winner.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would think so, wouldn't you? I mean, those two teams have played better than anybody else all season long.
No question about it. I'm sure, of course, there's some folks down in Houston and maybe some folks over in Boston.
Yeah.
And I have to be really careful because if we got a lot of Challengers listening down the way, I'm not sure why, but we have a lot of Red Sox fans on our campus.
We do.
Whether you're talking about Chris Smith, who our bookkeeper, she's got things all over her office that it's kind of a family tradition there. And I'll have to ask Tim Dexter, our principal, sometime what the deal is with a Northern California guy being a Red Sox fan. But I guess, to each his own.
Yeah.
So here we are getting ready for the start of the second half as we turn our attention back toward high school football. Also want to remind you that we do have a girls soccer game coming up on Saturday. They'll be at home. That game will be at noon against Lakeview. So this rebuilding Challengers team looking to try to learn and grow with each successive game, and again they put in a lot of hard work, and they're deserving of our support.
Well, and I don't know if you saw that, but it always cracks me up when the teams come out on the field at halftime because the referees kind of have to direct which end of the field they're going to. They almost both went to the wrong ends again, but they got that straightened out. So glad to see that someone's paying attention to that anyway, because obviously the teams weren't, but the officials get it straightened out, and now we're ready for the kickoff.
All right, and back deep to receive for the Challengers, it's all Macy and Sample. Couple of speed merchants, end over end kick. It's going toward the sideline. This is going to go out of bounds. And so now that leaves a decision for the Challengers, does it not, in terms of how they address it?
Usually they'll just take the football up at the 35, but let's see if I don't see them really talking to the officials down there, so I'm assuming they're going to take it at the 35. Yep, looks like they're just going to take it at the 35. So Challengers with good field position here to start the third quarter, and I'm sure the usual suspects coming out for Cascade Christian here, and let's see if that offense is ready to they got a little bit going in the second quarter. Let's see if they can continue that momentum here in the third.
We see Peyton Maurer out there along with Tristan Wallace, Tyler Almacy. Also out there, Austin Waits, Liam Bonatti, Daniel Nearing, Matt Moses, Zachary McKenzie Cook. Maurer, the motion man from the right side. They're going to go ahead and give to Wallace, and Wallace once again busts his way across the 40-yard line up to the 41.
It's a nice 6-yard run on first down there for the Challengers by Wallace, and some good blocking on the backside. They like to run that play. Wallace likes to run that play where they put the 3 receivers on the opposite side, just the one receiver sort of tight on the side they're going to run to. And usually that tight receiver is one of the bigger blocking type receivers, and they run the backside play, the backside zone read, and that time a big gain.
Reed gives once again to Wallace. This time, though,
he's going to lose a yard.
It is Dye with the tackle. And that will spot the ball at the 40-yard line.
3rd and 5 now for the Challengers, and kind of important to get a little, at least a first down or two here and get a little momentum here to start the third quarter and get things going back the Challenger way.
Twin receivers to each side. We got Maurer and Waits to the right, Sample and Almacy to the left. Reed taking his time.
And Cascade calls a timeout. Couldn't get the play in. Hate to see him use it this early in the third quarter.
That's one of those that if you're a Challenger fan, you have to hope they don't have to use it down the road. For almost 50 years, Bill's Glass has been the clear choice in Southern Oregon. Locally owned, family run, Bill's Glass supports our schools and communities. When you hear that crash, think Bill's Glass. Also, take opportunity to remind you that our presenting sponsor for Challenger Athletics this year is George Fox University. Cascade Christian has sent a number of graduates up that way, and some of them competing out on the football field. Hayden and Keegan Shawn, Logan Flenner, Ethan Hoffman, just to name a few. And it was rated by an article in Money Magazine as one of the top values in private education along the West Coast. Also want to recognize Cross Country Mortgage with James Beard, D.A. Davidson, the Strength of Advice, and also Evergreen Federal Bank, member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. And now, the Challengers in a 3rd and 5. Reed rolling out to his left, getting a little bit of pressure, eludes, keeps his feet, looks downfield. He's got a man. It's a jump ball.
It's intercepted.
And it's intercepted.
Well, it's about as good as a punt. I guess you can look at it that way. As Reed throws his first pass of the third quarter is an interception. And the Miller's going to take over down about their 30-yard line.
So for Cascade Christian, a turnover to open the third quarter. Reed coming into the ball game with 9 touchdown throws, and now that his 4th interception of the year. And so the Challengers, well, they'll call on their defense, which has been true to the test so far in the ball game, to try to stop a Miller attack that has, well, not been very attacking so far tonight.
No.
A few big plays here and there, but generally speaking,
they look pretty fired up coming out of the locker room, though. Let's see if they can take that energy and use it for their advantage.
So on first down, they go to the ground game, and we see Brendan Van Wart wrapping him up. And we also see Cole Shields around the play. Tristan Wall, I tell you what, it's just an impressive group of defenders, and one of their best, Jackson Turi, out of the lineup with a knee injury. With the loss of one on the play, that'll bring up a 2nd down and 11.
And the Millers don't like what they see. They're going to take their first time out of the half.
All right. Well, it's great local businesses that keep the games coming for you, like Sherm's Thunderbird and Food for Less. You have Vista Utilities and Travel Medford and the Southern Oregon Sports Commission. Live streams don't happen without our sponsor partners. And then once again, looking at our supporters of Challenger Athletics, Kelly Connect for IT services, A-Plus Pools, also Diode Laser Concepts, Airport Chevrolet, Buick GMC Cadillac, and Rise Volleyball Club. Here, to open the second half, not what the Challengers were looking for. Kind of got it in some traffic, and the Millers with a pick get the ball back, but what we've seen throughout much of the game, the Millers just really struggling to find anything to get a consistent flow going against the Challengers.
Yeah, the defense has been stout tonight so far, and Miller's now in 2nd and long here on their first possession of the third quarter.
2nd and 11. Wargo, the quarterback. The ball's loose on the turf.
Yeah, I think he fell on it, though.
And it looks like, yep, Millers will be keeping possession of the football.
I think that was Dye that time.
And that'll bring up 4th down and 11.
I think it's only 3rd, Jim.
Okay. Up. See our crewman switched it back.
Yeah.
Thought we lost a play in there somewhere, but I don't know. At this point in the day, you don't trust your own memory that much, if you know what I mean. The Challengers have the Millers back at their own 29. Wargo rolls out to his right, finds a man open, and the ball falls to the turf, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Julian Gomez.
Yeah, and Gomez saw a truck coming his way, and I think that might have affected whether or not he was going to catch that or not, as Cole Shields was headed toward him with his head down, going 100 miles an hour, and I don't think he wanted any part of that.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, I think it was an old Gatorade commercial. Remember Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt? And they had the commercial where it's like talking about a couple of trains colliding.
Yes.
It says, and I'm the big train.
Yes.
And Shields, he's the big train.
Yes, he was.
4th down and 11. Miller's going to have to kick this one away. And Almacy, he'll pick it up, though. And going to try to do something with it. Gets it to about the 30-yard line. So we've kind of seen this theme work its way throughout the night, that Challengers with a turnover. However, the defense able to hold up and keep the Millers off the board, and now they get a chance to regroup and try it again.
Yeah, and like I said, that interception thrown by Keith earlier, really, since it was long down the field, was pretty much like a punt, and the Millers not able to do anything with it, and now the Challengers get the football back on their own 30 for the second possession here in the 3rd quarter.
4 receivers set for the Challengers. 2 to each side of the line. Now it's Almacy in motion. Pass complete to Tyler. Tyler has the football, but really not much happening there. And
nope.
These are the kind of throws that you kind of typically tend to see out of the Challengers early in the ball game as they try to kind of get Keith in a groove and get the receivers going. Just not really anything to show for it, though, this time.
Well, that's that screen, and you got to have some blocking down the field. Challengers not doing a very good job, those receivers, of blocking down the field. And Almacy with nowhere to go.
2nd down and 10. Reed will hand the football to Wallace. Wallace gets some initial resistance, but he's able to muscle his way up to about the 32, 33-yard line. I'll bring up a 3rd down and about 6.
Yeah. Challengers, the middle of the field is open if they can get somebody over the middle. So far, they haven't been able to do that. As you can see, the Millers those linebackers are really coming up tight to the line of scrimmage because of all the run plays that the Challengers have done with that zone read. So right behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties, there's some open space if the Challengers can find it.
Trip receivers out to the left for Cascade. JT Knobloch into the ball game. They'll hand the ball to Sample. Sample
nowhere to go.
Runs into a crowd, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, Challengers struggling, as are the Millers, to move the football here, at least in the 3rd quarter. Sample with maybe a yard on the play.
So Knobloch, who was in on the last play as a receiver, will now get ready to kick it away. If I'm not mistaken, his 2nd punt of the ball game. And he can do damage with his right foot here out of punt formation as well, as what he does off the kicking tee.
Better snap that time.
Kind of a line drive kick. It skitters across, and the return man for the Millers able to elude Christopher Freilich. But he gets the ball up to about the 40-yard line, and that's where the Millers will get it now with 6:17 left to go on the 3rd. The Challengers on their second possession of the half, one they'd probably rather just forget.
Yeah.
And then the Millers have had some struggles of their own in this ball game, moving the football, as evidenced, if nothing else, by the scoreboard, which shows the Challengers up 14-0.
Yeah, 3 and out for the Challengers there on that possession, and really not a lot to show for it, as the Miller defense has been stellar so far in the third quarter.
Wargo will bring the Millers out onto the field. And again, they like that two-back set, 3 receivers, no tight end. A little bit of a high snap, and there with the stop for Cascade Christian, but making a nice run is Dwayne Fada, who picks up a Miller first down.
Yeah, Fada sort of on the fly sweep there, gets about 11 yards. One of the best running plays the Millers have had tonight.
Millers come out with now Fada will be split out wide to the left. Slot receiver to the right is Jordan Vega. First down and 10. And the Challenger defense, led by Bryson Cannon, drives back. Dye.
Yeah, Dye with nowhere to go. He loses a couple of yards on the play.
And the ball now at the 40, just about the 46-yard line. The Millers find themselves now in a second and about 13. Fada will come out wide to the left.
Did you hear one of the moms? Stop running it up the middle.
Just in case the coach needed some advice.
Yes, advice from the sideline.
All right. And she may have been onto something.
Well, they didn't run it up the middle. So
Not quite up the middle. You got to go over to the right side of that line
and give her credit. There you go.
Roughly about the same results. They get it down to where it's about a third down and 9. .514 and counting. The Challengers looking to raise their record to 3-2, and it's weird to be at this juncture in the season and only have 4 games on your record.
Yeah, it's been a odd season for Cascade this year.
That's for sure. And it's Dye with the
Ball's on the
football
floor.
now. Ball loose on the turf. Challengers say they have it.
And they do.
And the Challengers create a turnover.
And guess who it is? Bryson Cannon again.
He has been big and more than just being physical this evening. A big play by Bryson Cannon. Challengers now get it with a nice short field. Looking to extend that 14-0 lead.
Yeah, and as hard as points have been to come by in this football game, you would think that another touchdown might just put the game away, especially here late in the third quarter.
Challengers with South Umpqua next week. That's going to be the big game, and then they'll close out the regular season on November 1st against Sutherland. And that will be senior night, so we'll get to conclude being road warriors for a while.
Yeah, both those games at home for Cascade Christian.
Challengers, 4 receivers set. Wallace, the lone setback. Almacy in motion. Reed looking downfield. He has a man. And making the catch is Peyton Maurer.
Yeah, nice job by Peyton Maurer of coming back to the football. He gets 21 yards on the play, and finally the Challengers have a big reception, I guess I should say, and a nice first down.
So the Challengers now move the football down to the 25-yard line. And it seems like it's just very rhythmic. If they can get into rhythm, things start clicking and start coming together. Sample. He gets the carry, takes it out to the edge, tries to spin his way through, but give credit to that Miller defense. They had that one covered, and Sample really doesn't get anything out of it.
And we've got some extracurricular activity and a flag on the field.
So, looks like this one may be going against the challengers.
I don't know. There was quite a bit of discussion from to one of the players on Springfield side as well.
Given some of the barking I hear to the left of us, it may very well be against the Millers.
Yeah, there's lots of discussion going on, too. It might get picked up. Let's see what they finally call. Always reminds me of that, is it the Geico ad where where he leaves his mic on? What are they doing down there? You never really know. Maybe they're trying to yep, they're going to pick it up. I kind of figured that might happen.
And it doesn't look like there's too much protestation going on over it.
And Coach Getman trying to find out what's going on, and I don't think he got much of an answer from the side judge over there. Clock running now. Challengers up 14-0. Second down and 10 now from the Miller 30.
Reed with Wallace behind him. The give is to Wallace. And he'll get out across the 25-yard line, move it down to about the 24 to bring up a third and a manageable 4.
Challengers over 100 yards rushing now by my count, 104 unofficially as we get late in the third quarter. And those yards there they've been tough. Wallace been very stout back there for Cascade Christian.
3rd and 4. Reed goes again to Wallace. Wallace, he's trying like everything to get toward that stick, but
and he's about a yard short, I think.
Presenting interesting decision for Coach Getman. And by that I mean they are certainly within a
field goal
spot
range.
where they're within field goal range. That JT Knobloch, who kicked a 48-yarder against Wairika, can certainly do it. On the other hand, looks like they may just go for it.
Ragu in the backfield in place of Wallace.
4th and 1. Reed coming up under center now. And they're going to do the old quarterback sneak, and I think he got it.
He more than got it.
And as a matter of fact, he's just going to keep that pile moving while he can.
Yeah, give him 4 yards on the quarterback sneak. So the Cascade Christian Challenge will take that all day long. Another first down, and the clock continues to run. And those are the good things so far.
Well, I like how they bring Ragu in the ball game, and with his quickness, you're probably thinking like, you got your attention on him. But Reed knows how to make use of that frame of his to move it forward. Challengers in the red zone now, down to the 16. 1st and 10 with 2:32 to go in the third quarter of play. Reed, hands to Wallace.
Oh, nice tackle.
This time, good work defensively by the Millers.
T.J. Daniel with the hit from his linebacker spot, and boy, he read that play right off the bat, got in the backfield and made a nice tackle.
So that'll bring up a 2nd down. They're going to give him credit for maybe just about a yard. And then Ragu back in the ball game. Challengers with 4 receivers. Twins left, twins right. And now Almacy in motion. They'll go ahead and give it to Ragu. Ragu powers through the hole. He keeps his feet. Looks like he'll be just short of the end zone. But he picks up a big Challenger first down.
Yeah, and he gets 17 yards and puts him on the half-yard line. Nice run by Ragu. Breaks a couple of tackles along the way. And
I've probably said this once or twice before. I really like this kid.
Yeah, he's a freshman too, and you've mentioned that a couple times as well.
Yeah, he's gonna be a headache for the rest of the league for a while. He'll remain in the backfield. 1st and goal at the 1. And they'll hand it to Ragu, but the Miller defense. And there'll be a definite loss on that play.
Well, and I think there's a face mask coming, too.
Mm-hmm. You're right, Mark. Face mask the call.
That's going to be half the distance to the goal. So now they were on the half-yard line. They're on half of the half-yard line.
Yeah, they're down to about 18 feet.
I think if you're the challengers, you want to get something outside the tackles. As you can see, the Millers have got about 7 guys in the tackle box. Let's see if the challengers try to run something out wide.
Little motion there by Ragu. And they're going to go ahead and take it to the outside, but...
Oh, nice play again by the Millers defense.
And Miller's had that one going.
That's Gomez from his cornerback spot coming up and making a tackle for a couple-yard loss on Almasi.
So that'll move it back to the 3. Sometimes you're that close. Sometimes those are the hardest scores to get.
Well, to be honest, the challengers are fine. I mean, it's 2nd down now. The clock is running, which is what you want. And hopefully you can get this one in the end zone. We got to just find the right play.
Shields comes into the backfield for Cascade. Reed. Hands to Ragu.
There it is.
And I believe that may be, I'm going to check here, Mark, that may be the first touchdown of his high school varsity career.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You see him a lot defensively, and he was a JV guy earlier in the year. Yeah, that's his first touchdown. So congratulations, Cameron. The first of many more, I'm sure. JT Knobloch Scott punches it through. And now with 6 seconds left to go in the 3rd, challengers lead 21-0. We will take a timeout and be back with more action here on Table Rock Sports.
And memories are made. Cap Rock Northwest Grill.
Our thanks to our gold sponsors who sponsor Challenger Athletics. That includes Trinity Counseling Center, also Pronto Print, your digital imaging experts, and Precision Electric, pride in craftsmanship. Scoreboard here with 6 seconds to go in the 3rd shows the Challengers now up by a score of 21-0. Nice sustained drive featuring the running attack of the Challengers. End-over-end kick by Knobloch, and that bounces at the 12-yard line. And return man for Springfield, keeping his feet, Caden Trujillo. And the horn sounds. That will end the 3rd quarter of play. John L. Scott scoreboard. Challengers 21, the Millers nothing. We'll be back in 60 seconds with more action right here.
At 3 o'clock, Carter's campaign for class president will go live. His platform?
Thirsty for change?
Juice boxes for all. At 4, Liz will bid online and win.
Yes! Yes!
Which is why at 2, I'm down the street preparing for the storm. So no matter what, the show will go on.
Daily adventures start right here at Pinnacle 365. You'll find exactly what you need for your morning motivation. Later in the day, add some crunch to your lunch with crispy, crunchy chickens, mouth-watering chicken, and chicken tenders. Wherever your next adventure takes you, we're here to keep you energized throughout the day. And our new Peak Rewards program helps you save money on fuel so you can travel further for less. Daily adventures are better with Pinnacle 365.
21-0 ball game, and we're getting ready to start the fourth quarter of play. So let's let that scoreboard reflect that here. Make that little adjustment, and we're good to go. Miller's with the football. Yet to get on the scoreboard. Dye with the football, and he loses it. And the Challengers recover the fumble. Looks like we had, trying to tell whether that's Almacy or Sample. Turn your to the left just a little. Yeah, it was Tyler Almacy for Cascade Christian. And so the Challengers.
Third fumble recovery for Cascade Christian, and this one deep in Miller territory.
11:55 to go here, and once again, this is one of those games where it takes Cascade a little bit of time to get on track here, but looking good. Last drive saw a lot of running by the likes of Wallace and Ragu in particular. And that's one of the things with the Challengers. I mean, there's only 40 kids on this roster, but it's pick your poison.
Yeah, it is, and they've done a good job, especially in the second half, of making adjustments and finding out ways to score points in this game.
Wallace will start out as the back here on this drive. Out wide to the left is Brody Sample. Reed. Little play action. Pumps. Gets some pressure. And that's just one of those situations where it's like, okay, I'm going to just tuck this one under and go.
Yep, and he had an open receiver down the field in the middle, and he kind of pumped instead of throwing it. Looked like he had an open guy right over the middle of the field.
A gain of 1 on the play. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 9. Sample will be your man out wide for the Challengers. Almacy to his right. Almost a little bit of an offset eye type of look, but Tristan Wallace has all kinds of room. He has nothing but real estate, and he scores.
24-yard touchdown run up the middle, and again, I think that offensive line wearing that Miller defense down, and that time Tristan Wallace with a big hole up the middle goes 24 yards and kind of puts the icing on the cake, I think, for the Challengers with 11:38 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Cascade Christian capitalizing on the turnover to extend their lead to 27-0. That'll bring on the special teams unit. JT Knobloch to attempt the point after. Daniel Nearing, starting center, is also the long snapper for the Challengers. Here comes the kick. It's up. It is good. 11:38 left to go on the ball game. Cascade Christian, unless there was any doubt before, there is none now. It's 28-0. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Power Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford. We're stocked up with a great selection of new vehicles from Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and of course, Ram trucks. Choose from one of our largest inventories ever of new Jeep Cherokee 4x4s. Test drive a new Ram 1500 and see why Ram is Motor Trend's back-to-back three-peat truck of the year. And remember, we've added the convenience of test drives from your home and an online process to purchase and deliver your new vehicle. Get Ram Power Days special pricing on every new vehicle in stock only at the Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford Superstore.
Dear Dad, I was afraid to say this to your face, but I heard you yelling again from the stands during my game. You were shouting at the coach, the refs, even the other parents. It embarrasses me when you yell at everyone. It really stresses me out. I love sports, I love my team, I just want to play, but not if you always lose your temper. Love, Katie.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.com.
28-0 ball game, 11:38 to go. JT Knobloch Scott getting ready to kick it away for Cascade Christian, and real quickly, quick change as Mason Hoffman comes into the ball game and Brody Sample come out. Knobloch, line drive kick taken at the 5-yard line, And out to the 30-yard line and getting a nice little return out of his Trujillo. And the Millers will have good field position here as they get ready to try to see if they can't get that goose egg off the scoreboard. Today's game is brought to you in part by the Peak Rewards app by GP Energy. Download the app and save on morning motivation, crunch in your lunch, and fuel for your road trip at our many locations. Peak Rewards from GP Energy. I think I'm going to definitely be needing some morning motivation tomorrow after this late night tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I took the day off, Jim. See, you should have done the same.
That might have not have been a bad idea. Now the Challengers got defensively. And they've had a good, strong, solid night. Here on first down, it is Julian Gomez with the carry.
He gets about 3 yards on first down, but that Challenger defense has done a much better job here in the second half of maintaining the edge. We haven't seen the Millers getting around the edge like they did a little bit in the first half.
Keeping it to the inside.
Where you got help, right?
Right.
Where the rest of your guys are.
Strength in numbers. Second down, Wargo hands it off, and nice little push there by the offensive line for the Millers. After that, that'll bring up as they spot the ball at the 43-yard line.
Third and about 4. So
not bad.
A couple of nice runs, get them in third and manageable here. And they haven't had a first down yet in this half, so be kind of nice for them to get one here.
Caleb Lemley in as a receiver split out wide to the right. Wargo.
Not going to get it on that.
Nope. Tristan Wallace there. And he was one of, he and Shields both were credited by Coach Getman for their defensive performance last week against the St. Mary's Crusaders. And there's a lot of these guys, a lot of two-way players on this year's edition of the Challengers, and thankfully they're well-conditioned and bear up to the task well.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of guys that play both offense and defense, and Challengers don't have as much depth as we've seen in the past, some of the past Challenger teams.
Fourth down. Wargo rolling right, looking downfield, and a near interception, but Ragu, who's come close to several this year, just simply ran out of sideline, ran out of room.
And ended up on the mats that are in front of the Springfield bench there. You might have heard him land, but he got up, looked like he's okay. But that's not a fun place to land on those hard mats.
No, they're not. Speaking as one who's done that a time or two.
First down now for the Challengers after the turnover on downs. That's the third turnover on downs by Springfield in this one. To go along with the 3 fumbles they've had, that's 6 turnovers for the Millers. So kind of a rough afternoon for them, but I'll tell you what, credit the Challenger defense for what they've been doing in this one.
Absolutely. Hey, while we got a moment, I want to thank Table Rock Sports viewers and subscribers to our YouTube channel. Over 250,000 views and counting, and closing in on 1,500 YouTube subscribers. Thank you all. And I tell you, and I can tell you that they're not all just me there, Mark. It's always kind of nice to go back and with on-demand viewing to go back and look at tape of the game, not only review the flow of the game, but also we just kind of continue to try to work at bettering our craft and so forth. But it's great sometimes, even months down the road, to go back and look at maybe a favorite game. Brody Sample on first down, and he's got the quicks turned on, and he picks up a Challenger first down after a gain of about 12, 13 yards on the play.
Well, and you can tell when he gets in open space, he's very dangerous. And that time he breaks outside and picks up a nice gain for the Challengers, and you can see that speed on display. Fun to watch him do that.
His dad, JV coach Ryan Sample, one of the original Cascade Christian Challengers from back in the day, when the Challengers were playing 8-man football out at the VA domiciliary out in White City. And he's showing us, like, Dad, this is how you do it. On first down, and it is Sample once again. Good little first down pickup.
And I love how he makes generally one cut at somewhere near the line of scrimmage and then accelerates from that. And nice job that time of picking up another 5 yards.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just about being fast, or it's not just about being powerful. It's about being able to see what you've got to work with, and making those good, quick decisions and having those good, quick moves. Second down and 5. Sample with the football once again. He'll be short of the 20-yard line. Maybe picks up about a yard on the play. Challengers' main interest at this point is just grinding time off the clock.
Yeah, 175 yards now rushing for Cascade Christian. Remember, they approached 200 last week as well. So a nice job of the Challengers being able to control the line of scrimmage and the clock and run the football.
Sample once again with the football.
And it looks like he's got the first down.
So he just keeps grinding it out. Last week, Sample was 77 yards against St. Mary's. Wallace with 110.
Yeah, and I think they went just a little over 200 yards in that game rushing. Keith Reed had a few, and I think Ragu with a couple of carries as well. And, contrary to past Challenger teams who are more balanced, this team seems to be doing a lot more damage on the ground.
First and 10 now for Cascade. They're down at the 17 with 7:40 and counting left to go in the ball game. And Reed looking downfield. His receiver slips and it's picked off. An interception by the Springfield Millers. He was looking downfield for,
and he hesitated.
I think that was Maurer.
He hesitated. He had Maurer in the end zone open. And instead of throwing the football when he should have, he held on to it, rolled out, and threw it late and short. And anytime you do that, that's usually going to be bad news. So you can't throw it late and short. It's going to end up being an interception. And that's the third one. Second one for Keith Reed in this game, but the third one overall for the Challengers. So obviously, as we've said, there's some things to clean up for the Challengers as well.
Right. Well, better to hopefully try and learn that lesson here than have to learn that against South Umpqua next week.
Well, the plays are designed to be thrown with a certain drop at a certain time, and you got to throw the ball. You can't hang on to it past that because you're going to get yourself in trouble, and that's what we saw there.
So Millers get the ball back, and give them credit. They've played a fairly solid defensive game tonight. They just haven't been able to move the football to any great degree. Now they're going to go ahead and do the old double pass. Looking downfield for Lemley. It was Wargo throwing the football out in the flat, completing it to Jordan Vega. Vega throws it downfield, and perhaps now we know why Vega is a receiver and not a quarterback.
Well, good coverage, too, by the Challengers down the field. Really didn't have any place for him to throw it.
Well, and it's in a game like this, well, why not try it? You never know. You might find something along the way and something you pull up for future reference.
Well, and you mentioned it. They want to get that 0 off the board.
Yes. But the Challenger defense, they'd like to keep it there. And they do a good job there of coming up with a stop on second down. And now that'll bring up third down and 12. Clock continuing to run. And things getting a little bit cooler here as we make our way through the night. On this crisp Thursday evening, the Oregon Ducks in action tomorrow night. And now a pass from Wargo. It is complete. And with some running room down the sideline. 20, 10, touchdown Millers.
75 yards on the touchdown strike from Wargo
Gomez.
to Gomez. Although, do we have a flag? Yes, we do. Looks like the touchdown might be coming back. Block in the back possibly, it looks like at the 30. So.
And judging from the reaction of the Millers.
So give them credit for 45 yards on the completion, and then we're going to have a block in the back penalty, I believe.
And it looks like, we got another flag out there on the field?
I think there's an unsportsmanlike as well, because I don't think they liked the call.
No, when it rains, it pours. Give a shout out to the Challengers volleyball team tonight, senior night, with a sweep of Douglas.
Now, so I believe the unsportsmanlike should be after the play, so it should be 10 yards for the hold or for the block in the back, and then 15 yards for the unsportsmanlike. Let's see how they administer this.
Well, you get into a game like this, and you have a big play, and I think that's when you're the most vulnerable to boiling over. You're thinking, okay, we got a nice big play here, and it's like, wait a minute. And then,
well, the thing about it is this still changes the field position, and if they don't have the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty to add on to it, it would be much better for them. At the end of the day, they end up getting a first down out of it. So it's going to be 1st and 10 now at their own 45 after the 45 yards in a reception and the 25 yards in penalties backwards. So they end up getting a positive 20 yards out of the deal, and they'll have it 1st and 10 at their own 45.
Score from the major leagues, bottom of the 8th, 1-1 ball game.
Told you it was going to extras.
Well, the rate that old Doc Roberts uses pitchers,
you might not have any left, huh?
We might see Steven Souza out on the mound before the night's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. He's burned through 5 of them already.
Well, you got starters that you can use, too, in this game.
Well, that is true. And now, to the ground, the Millers go. Work the ball up to the 50-yard line.
Tristan Wallace with another hit on a running back. Again, Gomez with the carry.
So that'll move it up to the 50. It'll be a 2nd down and 5. 6:09 to go in the ball game.
And I think the good news for this game is the clock is running.
Yeah, yeah.
As it's 28-0. Miller's here trying to break that 0, as they almost did with that long play.
Going in motion.
Illegal motion, but they didn't call it.
And Wargo going to have to try to take off and run with it. Cole Shields says, here, let me grab the seat of your pants here and slow you down a little bit.
Picked up a couple yards on it, though.
Yeah, he did.
Giving them 3rd down and short.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and about 3 yards to go. And the Millers with just enough success running on the ground that they've got a good open full playbook to work with here.
Yeah, 67 yards so far on the ground tonight for Springfield, 45 yards through the air. So just over 100 yards of total offense. That Challenger defense has been tough.
And they'll give.
And I think they're going to give him the 1st down.
It looks like it from here. With the carry as Daniels. And chain gang getting all set up again. Looks like he had one guy eager to go, and then the other one was like, oh, well, wait a minute.
Checking the weather over there. Yes.
1st and 10 at the Miller at the Challenger 45. And here comes Shields. Freight train on the move.
Nice blitz that time by Shields. Good, well timed, and takes gets the sack, I should say, of about a 5-yard loss, and that should slow the Millers down, I would think.
That'll move the ball back to the 50. He's kind of like, yeah, where did that come from?
Yeah, no one touched him off the edge, and as I said, great timing on the sack.
Yeah, there is no more disconcerting sight than Cole Shields with a full head of steam.
Right in your back pocket.
Ooh. Second down and 15. Wargo looking long. He's got a receiver with position, but can't quite get it there. Looking for Lemley.
Good coverage down the field by Brody Sample. Brody's got to find that football, though, is the only thing he didn't do.
Yeah.
Right with the receiver, but needs to turn his head and find the football. Stops the clock for with the incompletion. Challengers up 28-0. 3:42 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Challengers looking to raise their record to 3-2. And then I'll give them a good solid week of planning to go up against the South Umpqua Lancers. Wargo dropping back. In some trouble.
He's sacked.
And he's taken down in the backfield. There with a stop for Cascade Christian. That's Liam Benatti.
Yeah, nice job by that Challenger defensive front of getting some pressure right in his face that time, and really had nowhere to go.
So it'll make a 4th down and 15 with 3:16 and counting left to go in the ball game. Wargo bringing the play in from the sideline.
Wargo's got his workout in, just going back and forth to the sideline the last few series.
Yeah, it makes me just tired watching it. 4th and 20. Wargo. And there's trouble coming. And that time it's Daniel Nearing for the Challengers.
Nearing with the sack.
Daniel, talk about his work as the center for the Challengers on the offensive side. Defensively, making a play for Cascade.
And that's the 4th turnover on downs for Springfield. That Challenger defense has really been tough tonight. As right now, after those 3 sacks in a row, the Springfield offense with just 100 yards even of offense on the evening. So 55 yards rushing, 45 yards passing. Great work by the Challengers.
2:25 left to go in the ball game. Ragu in the ball game for Cascade Christian. Split out wide to the left as Brody Sample got trips over to the right side. Reed hands the ball to Ragu. Gets across the 40-yard line down to the 38.
A couple more snaps here ought to do it for Cascade Christian.
I say the Challenger MO here is just kill the clock.
Yep. Ragu with a 5-yard gain.
Trip receivers.
Keith Reed should be watching the back judge now. When the back judge's hand goes up, that usually tells him when he's close to running the clock out. So back judge checking his watch, and his hand will go up with 5 seconds to left. And now you'll see Keith call the signals. Use as much of that clock as they can.
Ragu not able to get much out of that.
Maybe a yard.
Miller's defense closing in on the Challenger freshman. For those of you who are a part of the Challenger family, the Challenger Sparrow was introduced today at Chapel. And so be watching here in the next few weeks. The Challenger student body will be coming alongside this little 4-month-old and with a heart condition and Down syndrome. And you'll be hearing about opportunities, the way you can show your support. Meanwhile, Cameron Ragu with the football down to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, nice running. The first down for Cascade Christian. Unfortunately, went out of bounds and stopped the clock, but other than that, nice job. 15-yard carry. Challengers at 200 yards rushing on the night now, unofficially.
They just keep it going. They keep on grinding it out, and definitely after the effort against St. Mary's, another good follow-up here this evening.
Challengers just going to take a knee here, I believe. Looking for the back judge to give him the signal. And there it is. Keith Reed takes a knee, and that should do it.
All right, the clock winding down and signaling the end of the ball game. The Challengers playing on a rare Thursday night against the Springfield Millers, a team from the 5A ranks playing in the Midwest League. And typically, you'd be thinking about seeing them against some of the bigger schools in our area, but in this unusual year that is the 2021 season, on a night where earlier in the year we would have thought that the Challengers would be playing Douglas tonight instead, or on a Friday night actually. Instead, they're playing the Millers, and they come away with the victory. Your final score, the Cascade Christian Challengers 28, and the Springfield Millers nothing. We'll pause for messages, then stick around for the post game. We'll have all the stats and the scoring for you right after this on Table Rock Sports.
Choose a company that best represents you and our local community.
Choose a company that focuses on relationships rather than transactions.
Choose a company that empowers their employees and provides growth opportunities from within.
Choose a company that shows compassion and rises to the occasion in times of need.
Call a John L. Scott broker today.
This year, don't just replace your windows, renew them with beautiful and energy-efficient windows from Bill's Glass. Having new windows installed by Bill's Glass dramatically update and improves the look of your home and helps reduce energy bills year-round. Let Bill's Glass show you what you've been missing. Bill's Glass, the largest glass company in Southern Oregon for your home or auto, as well as the trusted industry leader for over 50 years. Bill's Glass in Ashland, Medford, and Grants Pass.
Back here at Silky Field in Springfield, the Cascade Christian Challengers pick up a road win against the Springfield Millers. Let's take a moment to recognize some of our sponsors, those who support Challenger Athletics, including Richard Brewster, CPA, also Reese Electric, Dorner Enterprises, Mini Pet Mart, and State Farm agent Russell P. Brown in Medford. Recapping the scoring for you tonight. Took a while, as it sometimes does with this edition of the Challengers. But in the second quarter, it was Keith Reed connecting with Austin Waits on a 10-yard scoring pass. The point after attempt by Knobloch Good to make it 7-0. Then just right before the halftime locker room, it was Reed going to the air once again, and once again to his big man, Austin Waits. The point after attempt, good by Cascade, and Knobloch to make it 14-0, and that was your score at halftime. Now, in the third quarter, that would typically be where the Challengers kind of pull away. They did eventually do that, but it took a little bit of time. With 6 seconds left to go in the third, it was Cameron Ragu on a 3-yard touchdown run, the first touchdown of his varsity football career. Point after attempt by Knobloch Good to make it 21-0. And then, once again, it was the Challengers going to the ground game. It was Tristan Wallace capping things off with a 24-yard touchdown run with 11:38 to go. Point after attempt good by Knobloch to give us your final score of 28-0. Want to remind you, for those of you who are fans of Table Rock Sports, that you can see lots of good video on demand by subscribing to their YouTube channel. I like it because what will happen is it'll come up on my phone and it'll remind me that there might be some games that have just been uploaded and something that I can check out and enjoy from home a little bit later on when I have the opportunity. And that's been one of the great things is in this day and age for some of the challenges that technology provides. One of the pluses is on-demand viewing, and who would have ever thought, way back in the day that we would have the opportunity to enjoy that now. The Challengers, 28-0 victory. That raises their record to 3-2 on the season. A non-league win for the Challengers, and now they'll get set for the big homecoming game coming up next Friday night against the South Umpqua Lancers. And Mark is crunching some of the final numbers there. And tonight, a great ground attack for the Challengers. One of the things we had anticipated was a little bit more in the way of power football on the part of the Challengers. When's the last we had a back around 200 pounds? You'd probably have to go back to the days of Dante Olson playing at 215 in high school.
Yep.
And even then, he wasn't a full-time back. Most of his damage was done at linebacker. So, when you got a hoss like Wallace and you have some change of pace guys like Shields and Sample, Ragu, there's a lot you can do there, and it gives your opposition a lot to think about. So, Mark, lay it on us. How do the post-game stats look?
Well, the Challenger defense looked great again, and we've seen that all season pretty much for the most part. with the one Marist game as the possible exception to that. Springfield, for the game, it did end up with 10 first downs. Ran the ball 34 times for just 55 yards. So a really good job by the defense of holding the rushing numbers down. Passing 3 for 16 for 96 yards. That one big pass at the end really helping with that. But Springfield with only 151 yards of offense, rushing and passing in the football game. They did have 75 yards in punt and kick returns for 226 altogether, 226 yards of offense. They had 5 penalties for 40 yards. They had 3 fumbles that were recovered by the Challengers to go along with 4 turnovers on down. So 7 total turnovers tonight by Springfield. And the Challengers, just defensively really solid. For Cascade Christian on offense, they had 14 first downs, and they ran the ball 36 times for 200 yards. Passing Keith Reed, 9 for 18. Geez, turn the lights off in a hurry on us, huh? 9 for 18 for 84 yards. So for the Challengers, 284 yards of running and passing in the football game. They did have 3 interceptions, 2 of them by Keith Reed in the football game, and that's unfortunate. I think they need to clean up the passing game a little bit. I think that's going to be a focus for Cascade Christian going into next week. Return yards for the Challengers, 10. Total offense, 294 yards for Cascade Christian. Just 5 penalties for 35 yards, and they did have 1 turnover on down. So the Challengers also had 4 turnovers, 3 picks and a turnover on down. So definitely some stuff to clean up. They'll be happy with the win. They kind of persevered and played better, I think, in the second half, at least in the run game. And the offensive line has looked solid. They protected Keith Reed. He actually held onto the football too long, in my opinion, because he was so well protected. Again, a few things to clean up, but overall good football game for the Challengers.
Absolutely. So we put this one away and we get ready for next week. And again, we've got the big homecoming game at U.S. Cellular Community Park next Friday night. The game will get started at 7 o'clock. We'll also see a presentation of this year's homecoming court. And I'll invite especially the alumni out to come out and support their alma mater and what should be a great football game. We want to give a shout-out of thanks to our executive producer, Joe Brett, and also to Grace Cascade Christian Athletic Director, Nate Maben, for our cameraman, Jared Thomas, and for my partner, Mark McLemore. I'm Jim McCoy. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we look forward to being with you once again next week.